What's going on, guys? Motonosity here. Welcome back to the channel. We are finally starting the ultimate garage build series. Okay, I've been kind of at this for probably 3 total days now, not consecutively, but just figuring out everything with what we're gonna be doing today. Today, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to do the concrete prep for an epoxy floor. This is my first time doing it, but like I said, I've been working on it for a couple days now, and I've pretty much exhausted every sort of method you could go about doing this, other than just hiring a professional company to do it. First of all, the plan. So I told you guys that ideally I wanted to be able to do this. You guys can see the garage is empty right now, but that's because I have everything out in my driveway, in my yard, on my front patio. We just moved from a different house, and my plan was to be able to do the floor before doing all that, so I could just have the garage empty, not worry about having everything outside. But for this project, I partnered up with Ligari products. They make full-on entire epoxy floor kits, as well as countertop kits. I'm not doing a countertop, but they're really well known for the kits that they sell for being able to do an epoxy coating on your counter. I had an epoxy floor in the old house here in Austin. You guys, if you've been around on the channel for a while, you remember it. But that was just kind of the standard epoxy floor that you hire someone to do, the base color, and then it's got the flake that you put on top of it. What I didn't like about that was I just thought it kind of looked a little bit cheap, and I wanted something that looked a lot nicer. I came across Ligari and the stuff that they make, and so that's what I'm gonna be doing on my floor. Now there's a 3 or 4 step process on this. First, ideally, is the concrete prep. The better prep you do, the better finish you're gonna have, and the better longevity that you're gonna have on your epoxy. I decided to go full out, do the diamond grinding on the concrete floor. We're gonna be doing a primer that you put down before you do the epoxy, then you do the epoxy, and then you have a metallic epoxy that you mix in to kind of give the marble effect, and then we'll be doing a top coat as well. Today though, is all about the concrete prep. And like I said, I've been at this for a few days. I've learned a lot. I've tested different things out, and I have suggestions for you guys if you're gonna be doing this yourself. Now, if you're gonna be doing it yourself, there's gonna be a few different things that you're gonna need to decide that you're gonna do. One, whether you're gonna be using just a standard sized angle grinder, or if you're gonna be using a large grinding or floor maintaining or polishing machine. And 2, whether you're gonna be doing the job dry or whether you're gonna be doing it wet. Originally, I planned to do the entire thing renting one of the floor maintainers from Home Depot and doing it wet. But after I started looking into more of the process, you're gonna have to have an angle grinder anyways to do the edges, because the floor maintainer can only get so close to the edges. And when I talk about edges, I'm talking about against your wall along here. So since I was gonna have to buy the whole setup, I just decided I was gonna do the whole thing by hand. And so that's what you see that I initially did right here in this section. This is all with just a 4.5-inch angle grinder. And I'll have all the parts that you need down in the description, or all the parts that I've gone through, but pay attention to what I'm gonna end up be doing in this video. Here is just a standard angle grinder with a dust shroud attachment, so you can hook it up to a shop vac. And then underneath, you've got a diamond cup wheel that's gonna be doing the actual grinding. This took a long time to do everything that you see back here, and it took a lot of work to get all these pieces to work together. The problem that you're probably gonna run into is that a lot of grinders don't necessarily have a good collar for you to actually mount the dust shroud to. I borrowed this one from my friend Fry, because his had one, mine did not, so I couldn't even attach a dust shroud to my grinder. The other problem I had was that the dust shroud was too far down. Now, the reason that I'm using a dust shroud on this is because I decided when I switched to just doing the whole thing with the grinder, I was gonna do it dry with a shop vac. That worked really well. But what I had to do to make this work was to cut down all of the bristles on this so that it was flush with the wheel. The other problem is you probably are gonna have to get a million different adapters to get everything to mount up together. So anyways, I cut down all the bristles, got that flush. The problem is, you grind for a little while, the wheel starts losing a little bit of its layer, and then you're just at the same problem again, where it's not flush. And when it's not flush, you risk grinding too deep into the floor, because you have to press down in order to get the cup to touch the floor. The other problem I had is that the grinder constantly overheated, and this is a problem that I read a lot when I was doing all the research, and that was my biggest frustration, and what caused me to ditch the grinder for the entire job and switch to getting the rental that you see over there. Oh, by the way, if you wanna do it dry, I've got a whole little setup here that makes it really nice for cleanup. Of course, we have the dust shroud, the adapters to connect all the hoses. Here we have a dust stopper and your shop vac. I switched to the floor maintainer, and there's a couple different methods, dry or wet. I'm gonna show you the two results. So this is what I was doing by hand. This right here is doing it dry, and this is doing it wet. And this was just real quick. I did all of this in just a couple minutes. So all you gotta do, I got my pressure washer, wet down the floor, go at it with the diamond brush that's on the floor maintainer, and then after you do that, take your shop vac and you just suck it all up, and then you don't have a mess. But that's where I am. So I'm gonna set you guys up, move you around, and we're gonna be starting on the grinding of the floor. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. All right, I figure I'd take a little break here. Just did this section. I've done a good portion of the whole entire garage so far. I've done all of this and then a little bit back there. Unfortunately, I'm dealing with rain, so that's fun. I moved the ruckus in, protect the seat, but yeah, all my other stuff out here is getting wet. What I'm trying to do right now is do hopefully all of this side so that I can move everything inside of the garage, so then I won't have everything like in my front yard. If you're gonna be doing concrete prep in your garage, 100%. Skip everything else and go rent the giant floor maintainer with the diamond brush. I think it was about 122 bucks for 24 hours, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of that side there. I might break out the angle grinder so I can do the edges so that this side is completely done, because what I'm gonna have to do is use the pressure washer to really get out all of the kind of like just dried dust. right, so I had to take a little break, put my kids to bed, eat dinner, but I've finished off camera. I've finished this entire side of the garage. So the 2-car side of the garage is completely finished. Then I took the angle grinder and I did all the edges on this side of the garage. And then what I did was pressure wash the entire area, vacuum up the water. Unfortunately, I still have everything out in from my front yard, so I'm crossing my fingers. I'm gonna roll my bikes in, but I'm crossing my fingers no one rolls up and steals everything else. But the weather is crappy. It's still raining. It's been raining all day long, pouring rain. I think the likelihood of someone coming by to steal stuff is very slim. So when I do this side, I will show you guys what I did for angle grinding the sides, as well as all the pressure washing and cleaning everything up. So the garage is completely done. I finished all of the prep work. Let me show you what I've done. So of course I did the full grinding of the entire area, and I showed a little bit of it, but I went back and used the angle grinder along all of the edges. You can kind of see a little bit of grooves here, but this will kind of be leveled out once we put down the epoxy. This side I did a little bit better on the lines. This is real flush and clean along the entire edge. Next step that we've got is going to be doing the primer before the epoxy. Then we've got the epoxy, the metallics to mix into the epoxy, and then we'll also be doing a top coat. And then we'll be ready to move on to walls, cabinets, and everything else that we're gonna be doing in this garage. If you wanna see any of the other videos in the series, make sure you check out the playlist link down in the description where I'll have all the garage build series videos. If the video helped you out, make sure you hit the like button, share it with your friends. If there's any questions that you had about the concrete prep or anything that I used, make sure you leave a comment down below or check the description. I'll have everything that I used listed. You guys have been awesome. I'm Motonosity. Remember, life's brighter with horsepower. Keep life live, and I'll see you guys in the next one.